All right, guys, we got some very good news in this video. The president, NIO's president, Chin Ho, has shared some great news. We're going to talk about that in this video. And he also revealed something big, all right? Something very, very big. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be super excited to hear about that. Southeast Asia. Wow. Okay, I'm spoiling it a little bit. But of course, we're also going to talk about the sales, what sales are looking like. I talked to the sales reps. But first, let's take a look at this. We got NIO, Envoy, and Firefly police cars. Yeah, even the police guys are choosing NIO and Envoy and Firefly. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's talk about the president. NIO stock president has shared this with us. Have a listen. Okay.
Hello everyone, I am the future Chin Lihom. There is a news report for everyone that is, in the first few days, steer-by-wire technology for the future ET9 obtained the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. It is also called UNEC's Special Technology Access. So what about so far the ET9's steer-by-wire is the only one in the world, a steer-by-wire technology that has received technical access to two sets of standards in China and Europe. China is half a year earlier than Europe again. First of all, the Chinese government's policy guidance on technological innovation and an open attitude likes. And what about the European Union? In fact, he has always been very strict about this aspect of technology, then this time to get this technology access from Europe, in addition to illustrating our technical prowess, also for our next step to Southeast Asia and the Middle East and so on. A wider market for the use of European technology as a standard. Expanding offers the possibility, probably many friends don't know much about it. Say steer-by-wire, what technology it is. Generally, our cars of this steering, it's the axis under the steering wheel. Mechanical, physical connections. And what about steer-by-wire? It's the removal of this part of the mechanical, physical connection, with electronic signals to control the steering of this four-wheeled system. It makes the steering system much smaller and smaller. Sensitivity and perception are improved. It's for this vehicle at low speeds. U-turns, turns, and various maneuvers have become easier. For example, we usually fill the steering wheel. The car may make a U-turn in 2 laps or even a little more. What about steer-by-wire with steer-by-wire? It may be possible to rotate in this direction in half a circle of 180 degrees. It prevents us from crossing our hands while driving. Rubbing the steering wheel in a hurry, these actions can no longer happen. It improves the technical performance of the vehicle. Increased sensitivity. At the same time, it is a system that improves the convenience of the entire operation of the vehicle. Steer-by-wire is a cutting-edge technology in the world. It's also the technology necessary for the next step in the development of more advanced intelligent assistance systems. So what about the future with our 10 years of technology research and development? It was the first to achieve a breakthrough in this field. I think it's worth celebrating a little. Then the ET9 has received a lot of attention and welcome after it was launched. And what about April just past? It is the first full delivery month since the future ET9 was launched. We've also achieved a lot of results, maybe the data coming out one after another in the past 2 days. You can take a look. It should be said that the ET9 represents the Chinese car, participated in the global competition at the executive flagship level on the frontal battlefield, and it has achieved good results. And what about in the past month? A lot of well-known entrepreneurs. For example, Mr. Fang Hongbo, chairman and president of MIDI Electric, Mr. Zheng Yukon, chairman and CEO of Cattle, and Mr. Liu Jiangdong, chairman of the board of directors of JD.com. Everyone has become the owner of our ET9 one after another. Then what about ET9 is also getting more and more from all walks of life in China, the recognition of the forces in the middle of society. It represents such a level at the forefront of the development of China's automotive technology. It is also one of the masterpieces of our entire automotive industry. Welcome friends to pay attention. I think there's more good news for us next in ET9. It can be shared with everyone.
So, of course, that was the E-Mark certification that NIO has received for their ET9's steer-by-wire system, and it's just incredible. But of course, in that video, he also talked about future expansion into Southeast Asia, and this is, of course, using their tech. They're going to expand into Southeast Asia. So he's spilling the beans here, telling you guys that Southeast Asia is going to come very soon. This is probably via Firefly, most likely, but we can't really rule out the fact that Onvo might also be there. You know, a very good, affordable Model Y alternative that's cheaper and better. So, you know, just saying, the president said Southeast Asia, that's something to take note of. So I know you guys, some of you guys are from Southeast Asia. Time to get excited about that, all right? Okay, so what was the E-Mark certification? This is also quite important because NIO is the first company to get dual certification from Europe and China, showing that NIO does have fantastic technology. A lot of naysayers here in China argue that NIO doesn't have a future because they don't have tech. It's all about battery swap and service, which there's nothing special about it. And apparently, they don't have tech. They don't have tech to lead the future. But this just proves all those naysayers wrong. Everybody that says NIO doesn't have a future, they really out to look at the ET9 more carefully, because that has so much tech inside of it. And it just proves all those naysayers wrong, which is very, very nice. Okay. Uh, it's it's the slogan that has caught on here in China. People say 未来没有未来, which is like NIO doesn't have a future, because NIO's name sounds like future, and then it kind of just, it's kind of like a rhyme almost. And people have been saying that, and that's just, quite bullshit, right? When it comes to technology, you got to understand that NIO here in China is at the forefront of automobile tech. Many of the other guys don't have the tech, and then NIO has it, and the other guys copy NIO, right? Like the LiDAR design on top. Some people at first thought it was ugly, but then everybody copied that design, right? Everybody started using LiDAR on top. Yeah, so it's kind of, you got to understand, NIO does have a lot of tech. They've been pouring so much money. They got their own chip. They got their own software, right? All from scratch, sanction proof. And I remember even during the Auto Expo, somebody asked a sensitive question: where is NIO's chip made? Is it made by TSMC? Because if it was made by TSMC, there's a possibility that if, NIO is too much of a leader in terms of tech, people, the Americans, might sanction them because they don't want a non-American company to be first. And to that question, Will and Lee actually didn't directly answer it. It could be from TSMC. It could be from SMIC. It could be from SMIC from China. Okay, so you never know. So he's keeping his lips tight about who's making those chips, of course, to prevent any sanctions. But it just shows that, in terms of tech, NIO is ahead, even ahead of NVIDIA in terms of like having the best performing chips. Right now, the ET9 and then the new 5566 will all come with NIO's NX9031, which is right now currently the best chip in the market for automobiles. That's quite amazing, right? Okay, so what about sales? So in my previous video, I went to the store to, of course, film the new ES6 and EC6. I also talked to the sales rep about how things are going with the orders, what his expectations are for Firefly. So he does see, like, they're getting a lot of orders for Firefly and a ton of orders for the ES6 and EC6. Now, the Firefly, he expects about maybe 2,000 per month steady deliveries. So, consistent. That's what he said. And then for the ES6, the ES6 has always been the best-selling vehicle for NIO. And right now, this, with the refresh, is just such a big monumental change from before. They're getting a lot of orders for that. Orders are exploding, so to speak. But then he also said, we have to wait until tomorrow for the pricing to see what the pricing is. Is it going to be like, he hopes that it's going to be a little bit cheaper because of the deflationary environment that we're in here in China. Everything's getting cheaper. So he's kind of hoping that it gets a little bit cheaper than before, and that's going to really help it become a massive seller. But at the same time, we kind of want NIO to have more profits, right? So, there's a conflict of interest there. So we'll have to see what price they come out with tomorrow. My expectations are they probably might just keep it at the same price. Maybe make it a tiny bit cheaper because they got their own chip. Their own chip saves them a ton of money. So we'll have to see. If they want it to sell well, it has to be bang for the buck. So we'll have to wait until tomorrow to see what the price is. And test drives also begin on tomorrow essentially. So customers will be able to get a closer look at the car. Very, very nice. Yeah, I gotta say, things are looking good. Right here, things are looking good here in China. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.